you know, we know about the questions, and we're going to be going over the new sharing permissions that some of you may be aware of and some of you may not be aware of that are in Google, and how because things look a lot different now. Starting last week, things look different when you share out stuff, and so you might have questions about that. Why does it look different? What's happened? Is it the same process as before? So we're going to take a look at all of that today within our Google Drive, like when we share things out with other people. So we're going to kind of go over just a little bit of using the different types of drives, whether we have of course our Google Drive and everything that's in it, all the different types of documents that we have in it, how to share those out with people. And then of course, like that versus a shared drive, and how the two are different a little bit. So, and I know that kind of overlaps a little bit of what Eric had done earlier this morning, but we kind of wanted to break it up where this is more about all of the, you know, the different ways to share stuff out, as opposed to just, you know, condensing your Google Drive down. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to share my screen, maybe.
Oh, let me stop sharing. I'm still sharing. I forgot.
Well, it's okay because it wasn't, you know how it didn't allow me to get on my little a little menu there. There we go. All right, and I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to go to my Google Drive right here. Okay. Now I'm not going to be able to see you all for a little bit because I'm in my Google Drive right here. So we're going to talk about how to share things out within Google and what that means for you as a teacher and what it means for your students and for your parents, because things have changed. What they found out when we started this whole COVID stuff is they had been looking at data for quite a while. And this isn't, when I say they, I'm talking about some of the higher ups in our TIS, not in our department, but in TIS in general. And TIS was looking at how things were being shared out from our district, because there used to be a time when you could share out a document and you could say, anyone with a link, I'm going to share it with them. And it didn't matter whether they were in YISD or they were out of YISD, they were anywhere, and you could share things out with them. Well, if you haven't noticed, that has been gone now since we've started this online stuff, and that is for student safety purposes. I know it was a really kind of a tough time for that to happen. I guess they had decided a little while ago that they were going to do this, and we kind of found out about it like secondhand. We're like, whoa, what happened? So we were kind of just as kind of thrown back as everybody else was on it. But once it did happen, then it was like, okay, now we need to realize how we're going to share things out within the district, and what does that mean? So when you go to share out a document, now my permissions are just a little bit different because I do have to share things out with people outside of the district. I have to work with those people that are on the outside, you know, to the dark side, like with Socorro and everybody. So my permissions are just a little bit different than yours, but everything else is going to look the same. So I'm just going to click on this document right here. And this is I think this is a supply document from somebody at some other time. Okay. So here's my document. So if I want to share out this document with somebody, we know the steps to do that once it finishes loading up here. Everything is taking a little while. I'm guessing my kids must be on the net again. Give it just a second. So I'm going to go ahead and click the share button, right? That's how I'm going to share something out. If I want to share it with my colleague, if I want to share it, you know, with just about anybody, except when I'm with my students, because I'm probably going to use Google Classroom to do that. So if I click the share button, then this very odd screen comes up. It doesn't look like it used to. It looks very different. If it will come up. Everything is very slow right now. All right, come on. There we go. Okay, so this looks very different now, right? So here it's telling me yes, I got it. I already know about that. Okay, so here, this is me, and I'm the owner of this document. And right now, it says that this is restricted, that only people who can be added to my group here can actually see it. So if I want to get a link for that, I'm going to have to go down here where it says get a link. If I want to just share it out like with Becky, because her and I we're planning this party for other people and we don't want anybody to know, then I would put her name up here and then just her and I would share that document. But if I want to share it out with, say, like my grade level or even my faculty at my campus, I don't want to have to put all their email addresses in here. That's going to be a nightmare for me. So I'm going to get a link. And to do that, I need to check here where it says change link to Isleta ISD, because that's going to tell me who I'm going to share it with. So I'm going to click on that. And when I do, it's going to give me this option here. I can share it with anybody with YISD if I want to, right? And I say, you know what, but I need to share this out with somebody outside the district. You're not going to have an option to do that, okay?
I'm sorry, we can't see what you're doing. The window's not showing up.
My window's not showing up? No. Are you kidding?
It is on my end, and I think it might be an issue with your individual device.
Oh, you know what? I know what it is. It's because I'm on let me share the tab. I apologize. I didn't realize I went to a different tab. That's my fault.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. I am so sorry about that. I apologize. So let me start again. I click on the share. Thank you for telling me, by the way. I'm sorry. I was so focused on here that I wasn't looking up at the top, and it was telling me, hey, get, you want to change this. Let me try this again. Here we go. Come on. All right. So right now it's only shared with me, but I can change this. Right now it says anyone with at YISD can get this link. So I can click change here. Okay. And if I click in here, I can make it restricted so only certain people, like maybe my good friend, just Becky and I can share it out, or maybe Eric, Becky, and I can share it out, or I can share it with YISD. Now, you all don't have this option down here, anyone with a link. That's because that's going to go outside of the district. So you will only see the YISD or the restricted. Now, if you do the YISD, what that means is that link, that's the link that you can take and share it out with people. And anybody who is only in YISD will be able to access that document. That means that if I put if I give a document to, if I want to share a document out with, say, parents who are outside of the district, they're not going to be able to have access to it unless they log in as their students. And again, that's on purpose. And the reason that's there is to protect our kids, because like I said, there was some oversharing that went on, and we don't know, well, we don't know any of it, like who did what or whatever, but they just decided that, you know, a lot of student information is getting out and a lot of documents are getting out. And so then they said, you know what, we can't let it get outside of the district anymore. We've got to get control of that again. So that's why this has occurred. And then this happened last week where everything kind of changed the way that it looked. And we've had many people come into our virtual office and say, you know what, it's telling me that I'm not able to share out anymore. And I'm like, what do you mean? Our sharing permissions haven't changed, but just because of the way it looked has changed. So that's why we're going through this. So again, it says YISD here, and there's a little disclosure arrow, and when I click on it, I will have the option of either sending it to YISD or to restrict it to only certain people can look at it. Now, if I want somebody to be able to edit it, I'm going to need to go over here where it says viewer, and I'm going to need to click on the little disclosure arrow here where I can actually let somebody be a commenter, where they can add comments to it, but they can't change it, or where they can edit the document along with me, which is usually what I do when I'm going to share out a document with somebody. I'm going to want them I'm going to want their input, and I'm also going to want them to do some editing on that document. So that's something that I can do here as well. Okay. So here's where I would get the link. Right here it says copy link. So when you click that, what it does is it copies it to what they call your clipboard, which is on your computer. So then when I go to do a paste, and if I'm on a Mac, that's going to be a Command V to paste. And if I'm on a PC, that is going to be a Control V for paste, and then it'll paste that link within a document or within an email, wherever it is that I want to put that document. And that is one of the ways that we can share out. Now here are all the link settings. Okay, so I'm going to go back here. I clicked on the little thing here, and it's just taking me straight back here again. I thought it was going to actually give me something else, but it didn't. So we have we have who is it going to go out to, whether it's YISD, individuals. And if it's just going to go out to individuals, if I click here and I say restricted, now that's when this top part is going to be updated, and it's going to say, okay, so now who are you going to share it with? And then this is where you would put in the names of the people, the email of the people that you're going to share it with. So again, you're going to have the option of sharing it with certain people or getting the link. It kind of almost looks like we're not going to be able to do a link and sharing out with specific people, which will really defeat the purpose of having a link. So that's probably a good thing, because that could be a little confusing. All right, no questions, right? We're good there on how to share out a document and why those permissions are there. So when I go to a lot of us want to like start creating like a Google site, right? And when we're looking at to create Google sites, and we want to add documents and all of that stuff, and we're thinking, oh, this is going to get outside the district. Google sites, if you create and publish a Google site, the only ones who are going to be able to see it again are your students or anyone who has a YISD account. That information will not go outside of the district. There's 1 or 2 people at your campus who have the ability to share out beyond the district, and that is going to be your ITS teacher and possibly your librarian. And they're going to be the ones who you would go to and say, you know what, can we get this on our website? Can we get that? So that way those kind of things can be pushed out. Now, if it's a document that you've created, again, it doesn't matter how many sharing permissions, unless you've actually shared it with your ITS teacher and they've made a copy of it so it's their own, and then they can go ahead and share that out. And speaking of copies, how many of you know how to make somebody to force somebody to make a copy of a document of yours? And I say that because there are so many times when we send links to people and we want them to edit it, and then they edit it, and then we realize that we didn't really want them to edit it. We just wanted to send them a copy, but they didn't make a copy. All they did was just take yours and make it theirs, and now you don't have one anymore because you shared it with them. That happens a lot. So I'm going to show you a way that you can take a document like this Google document that's right here. I'm actually going to go back in there, and we're going to get the link for it. And we're actually going to take that link, and we change just a little bit of part of that super long gobbledygook link. And we put the word copy in there. And then anytime that somebody gets that link, when they click on it, it's going to make them make a copy. And this works for slides. This works for Google Docs. It does not work. I think it does work for forms as well. It'll have them make a copy of their forms as well. So it's a really a good little trick to have. Do we have any questions? Is that what I'm hearing?
I don't see any questions.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Good.
Okay, that's good. Whew. Okay, so I'm going to go back into this document, so I will make sure that I share out the proper tab. Now that I'm being very conscious of that. Sorry, it's been a whirlwind of a day today. All right, so I'm back into this document here. So now I'm going to want to share this out with somebody else. We're going to say one of my other accounts. And in order to share this out, I don't want them messing with this document right here. I want them to have to make a copy. So what I do is I click on the share button, and again, this works on any of the Google documents or anything like that. Okay, come on, open up. Come on. It's just being really slow today. And I'm listening, and I don't hear any music streaming, so I don't think it's from the front. Okay, so here I'm gonna get a link. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change this link because I'm gonna want to send it outside the district. So I'm gonna use one of my outside accounts to do this. Okay, let me click here. Come on, open up. Come on. There we go. I'm gonna do anyone with the link. Okay. And instead of view, I'm going to put edit because I'm going to want somebody to be able to edit this on their own. So I'm going to click edit. Okay. And here's my link, right? So I'm going to copy this link. Okay. All right, so I copied the link. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go into another document that I have open, and I'm going to paste this link in there because I need to make a small change to it. So I'm going to go to this document that I have right here, and scroll down just a little bit right here and right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste that link. Can everybody see the link here? I hope so. And I hope that it lets me zoom in a little bit. Doesn't look like it's going to let me. Maybe because I'm presenting and doing a bunch of things at one time. But right here we have the word edit. And then there's a question mark after the word edit. There's a slash, and then there's the word edit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight the word edit and not the slash, just the word edit. And I'm going to put in there copy. Okay. So that's all I changed. Right where the question mark is, right before that, I put in the word copy. I took out the word edit that was in there and I put in the word copy. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this link. I'm going to copy it again. And I'm going to go to another tab here, just so you can see. Okay. And I'm going to paste that link in up here, and we're going to see what happens when I paste this link up here. Oh my goodness gracious. It's telling me that I need to make a copy. I can't even view the document right now. So when I click make a copy, then it's going to make a copy in my Google Drive for me, and the original is being completely left alone, which is awesome for you because now no one's going to touch your document. So that works with slides. It works with just about everything that's Google. So like instead of like for slides, I believe it has I believe the word is edit also, and you just take that off of there and put in the word copy. And for slideshows, one of the things that you can do is if you're sharing a slideshow out, like sometimes like if you put a slideshow up on your Google Classroom. And I'll just go in here to this one right here. This is one I had from this morning. And let's say I'm gonna want to present this to my kids. Okay. So in a Google Slides, this is what you do for Google Slides. So I'm gonna see it's right now it's restricted. So we were gonna get rid of that restricted. And I'm going to go, well, we'll go with Isleta because I'm just going to open it up in Isleta. And we're going to want it to be a viewer. We're not going to want anybody to make any changes to this. So I'm going to copy the link. And now I'm going to go back to that document that I just put that other link into. So now I'm going to paste this link here. And you see that it says edit right here. Okay. So if I wanted them to make a copy of it, I'd put copy in there. But this is a really cool feature to have. So let's say I want my kids to get the hold of this slideshow, but I don't want them to see all the slides on the side. I just want it to present to them. So instead of having the word edit here, I can scroll back and I can put in present. Okay, and what that's going to do is it's going to put the slideshow up in presentation mode, so they have to actually click through the slideshow. It's not going to be like where they can just click on each slide, and because sometimes we don't want kids to see that view, we want kids just to see the slideshow. So let's make sure that that's appropriate, or that's the way it's supposed to be. So let me share out another tab here, and I'm going to paste that in there. And this is the slideshow. And it starts at the beginning of the slideshow, and I can just click my way through. And you're noticing that I don't have the slides on the side or any of the other features. It's just the slideshow. I'm presenting the slideshow. So this is a great way to get that link and to put that link into Google Classroom. You change the word edit to the word present, and then you copy that link and put it into Google Classroom. And then when your kids click on it, this is what they will see. Now, if I took out the word edit and I put the word copy in there, what's going to happen? It'll make a copy for them if you want them to have their own copy. Maybe it's like a template and you want them to add stuff into that template. That's how you would do that. Okay. Questions? Are we good so far?
So far, no questions.
So far, no questions?
We do have a question. With this mode present, students will not be able to edit?
Yes, they won't be able to edit because if I go back into here, because all I can do is I could just kind of slide through the slideshow, right? I mean, this is our slideshow from this morning. Now, if I think it's gonna this is just gonna take me to full screen. Mm-hmm. And then all this is going to do is it's just going to tell me how many like steps how many seconds I want on each slide. So,
sorry.
So it's not, we're not going to be able to edit this in this mode. It's only a presentation mode. Yeah. So good question though. Good question.
So Roxanne is asking, how can I share Google Slides from my Google Drive so that they are not able to edit them? And that would be the way that
would be the way that you would do that. I've done tutorials on how to change the background so that way they can't to lock the backgrounds down. And that's when you're sharing, because how we normally share out a Google slide is we get that link, right? That edit link, and then we put it into a Google Classroom and then we make a copy for each student. Well, that's great, except they're going to go in there and they might mess up everything that you've done. In this way, this is how I do my badges. I do my badges in this way where I just have it present to them. They can't go in and change any of my slides. All they can do is view it because they don't have edit access to it because we took out it was just view only, right? So, and then we just put in the word present, and then so it's in presentation mode. They can't change it. They won't be able to change it, which is nice because now they're having to watch the presentation and it comes up in full screen mode, which is kind of nice also. So it's not such a small screen for them to view it. So again, I got the link and where the word edit was, I just deleted that and I just put in present, and then it was in present mode, and then they can't do anything with it. But maybe you have to get that share link first before you do anything else. Okay. Other questions about forced copy? I highly recommend using that even with your colleagues because that's going to prevent documents from getting written over. I can't tell you how many times that's happened to all of us at some point. So like when I put documents online for teachers, I don't just give them my original document. I force them to make a copy. And so you'll see that just about on every document that I've linked to or that I've shown other people how to link to. So that way it will force you to make a copy of it. That way you have your own copy. Yes. You have a question?
Leela has a question. Can they access the link?
Can they access the link for, you want to try it? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not sure if that's what she's asking. Can they access the link? So I'm assuming like how you can share the link with the students?
No, I'm sorry. You know how sometimes in the Google Slides we add like links? They go with the Google slide.
Oh yeah, yes, everything.
If I just send a copy.
Yes. Yes. So if you do the present mode like I did, everything that's in the Google slide stays in the Google slide. So if I have a link to a website, it's in there. If I have a link to a form, it's in there. Everything stays in there. It's just that they can't edit it or change it. They can only just look at it.
Okay, and Norma is saying if you change the slides link to copy, they will have their own copy.
Yes.
They'll be able to edit, but no changes to my original, correct?
Yes, that's correct. So if you don't put present in there and you put copy in there, then it's going to force them to make a copy of it. And so now they have a copy of that slideshow. Your original is still left alone. And if they make changes to theirs, well, it's okay because it was theirs. For me, personally, for my students, I would use the present because if I'm making a slideshow for them, unless I want them to create their own slideshow. But if I'm going to do that, I probably would just make a blank slideshow and then tell Google to make them a copy once as a part of the assignment. So I would use the present mode if it's something I want my kids to see, because I know there's been a lot of questions about, I have backgrounds that I want to lock down, I have images that I want to lock down, I have text, and what the present mode will do for you is it'll kind of prevent some of that from happening. They're only going to see it in presentation mode. They will not see all of the other stuff in behind. Other questions? Are we good? I'm looking at time. We're good. We have about 30 minutes left. All right. Okay. So that's sharing out the documents. Yes. Somebody has a question?
No. Well, Irene says, so after changing the link and adding the copy, how do we share the link with colleagues via email? I was used to sharing via the share button.
Yes. So that if you use the share button to share it out with colleagues, then they're going to have the ability, if you want them to view it, if you want them to edit it, or make comments on it. That's what the share button is going to be for. But if you want them to make their own copy, and because you're not sure that they're going to do that, then you send the link via email with that where you've changed the word edit to the word copy. And like I said, I recommend doing that for documents that you're just sharing out, because you made this really super awesome document for your kids, and everybody now wants to see it, and they would love it if you would share it with them. And you're just like, well, I worked really hard on this. I don't want it to get messed up, so I'm gonna make you make a copy. I'm gonna force you to make a copy of it, and then I would just send it through an email.
And Mariam is asking, can the PDF copy work the same way?
PDF does not work that way, and let me tell you why. Because PDF is really view only anyway, and if you put the word copy in there, what's going to happen is you're going to get an error, and whoever clicks on the link will get an error, and you're going to want to pull your hair out, and you're going to curse my name, because I know you're going to say, oh, she told me it was going to work. And so I thank you for bringing that up, but PDF, it will not work. So what you do with PDF is you don't have to do anything. If you want to share a PDF with somebody, you can just share it with them, because all they can do is look at it, or they can download it. Those are the only two things that they can do with a PDF. They can't really change it, because, yes, we have things called Cami and other things, but what that does actually kind of is it writes over the top of it for somebody else on their drive, not really on yours. So it's not really an issue with a PDF document. But anything, Google Docs, forms, sheets, all of that, yeah, you'll want to make them to make a copy if that's, you're worried about your work being changed in some way. Okay, so that share button is super important. It's great because we can use it for all of that, but it also can be a little treacherous if we're using it for to share out a document that we want to keep for ourselves. Okay.
Roxanne is asking, sorry.
No, you go right ahead.
Roxanne is asking, if I copy one slide from a Google slide presentation, can I paste it where it cannot be edited?
Can you paste it where it cannot be edited? Now, if you take that slide from one slideshow, you can paste it into another slideshow. And then if you take the link from this other slideshow that you've pasted that slide into, and then you did the present mode or you did the copy mode, then they won't be able to edit that. Or, well, if they make a copy, they will be. But you can't just have like one slide of a slideshow not be editable and then the rest be editable in a slideshow like that. So it's kind of like an all or nothing. I think I'm answering your question. I hope I am. All right. Okay. We'll see about.
Okay.
So, any good questions?
We're good. We're good.
Okay.
Go.
Okay. All right. Okay. Phew. Okay. All right. So now we talked about, using this with Google Slides and things like that. Now, one of the things I do want to touch on, it's really not about the Drive. It's more about Google Forms. And the reason I want to touch on this is because we have a lot of people who want to share out Google Forms with their students, but maybe they're not doing it quite the right way. and then you just want to pull your hair out because you've worked really hard on this quiz or this questionnaire or survey, and they've messed it all up because you actually sent the link out that's for the editable version. It has happened to everybody, including myself, at some point in time. So I want to show you the proper way of sharing out a Google form with students and with collaborators, because there's a huge difference when you share out with people who want to take the survey or the form, and people that you want to help create the form. Okay. All right, so we're going to take a look at that. And I see there's something about Cami. Yes. Yeah, please make a note of it, and we'll circle back to it
right now. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, we'll circle back to Cami. So I'm going to go back in here to my drive. I know I've been kind of displaying this. So to create a form, of course, we go up to New, maybe tomorrow, who knows, and we go down to More. And it's the purple one. It's the top one here, Google Forms. And if you've never been into Google Forms, I'm going to tell you it's got great power. It's awesome. So I'm just going to pretend this is going to be my practice form here once I can get in here. Everything is just running super slow. So let me go in here to this tab. Here we go. All right. So I'm just going to name this really quickly because I have a thing about naming my stuff, because when I don't name it, then it all gets down in the bottom of my Google Drive and I don't find it for like a year, and then I'm like, what was this? So I want to make sure I title everything practice so that way I can find it later. And whatever title that you put right here, if you click right here, it puts it right into it titles the form for you. So it's awesome. Okay. So now I have I can put all my questions in here, and I'm ready to send this form out. Okay. So there's a big purple button up here that says send. So if I click on that, the first option that it's going to give me is email. Don't use it. It won't work. Our email system, even though we're Google, we're not Gmail. And Google Forms will try to use Gmail, and you'll get an error and it will make you crazy. So don't use the email version. Okay, you don't want to do that. So you're going to go right next door to where you see the little link. So when you click on the link, here is the link right here for my form. So if I click on that and I copy it, that's the link that I'm going to put into my Google Classroom, or I'm going to send out to parents, or whatever it is that I want to do. Now, because of our sharing purposes, I just thought about this, we're not going to be able to send that out to parents. But what we can do is we can get with our ITS, and then they can embed this form onto the website, and then the parents can fill it out there if it's like a survey for parents and stuff. And that's kind of how we do things. So if I get this link here, this is the link to actually fill out the form, this link right here. This is where I would put in Google Classroom and email, etc. And then the kids go in and it will actually have them fill out the form right then and there. Okay. If I want to make this like a survey for parents, maybe I do want to get it outside the district. First of all, you want to talk to your admin about that, make sure that that's okay. And then what you're going to do is you're going to click here, and then you get the embed code here. That's what you can send your ITS teacher. Now, if your ITS teacher is not sure about how to embed that and not sure how to do that, that's perfectly fine. What I would do instead is I would go up here to the 3 dots. Now, I say this all the time, but anytime that you see 3 dots in Google, there's something awesome in there and you need to check it out. So I click under the 3 dots, and there's one here, add collaborators. And this is people that you want to help you with your form. People help edit your form. This is not how we send it out to students. This is how we send it out to people that we want to get their questions or whatever. They're going to edit the form with you. So click here. And then this is going to look a little familiar to you, where you add your editors, or you can get a link and then send the link out. It's that this is new. The link part is actually new. So let's say that I created this awesome quiz for my students, and man, I did such a great job on it. And now Becky's like, hey, can I use that for my classroom? Well, I don't want to use my form, because if we use my form, what's going to happen? then all of her information from her kids are going to be on my form. And I don't want that. So I can get a link, right? And once I get this link and I copy it, there's going to be a part in it that says edit. Scroll down if it'll show it to me. There it is right there. There's the word edit. I can change that to say what? I can change it to say copy. And then when my friend Becky goes in and clicks on that link in her email, it's going to ask her to make a copy of my form. So now she's got her own copy of my quiz, and I still have my original awesome copy. And if she didn't want question 2, she could change question 2, and it's not going to change mine at all because I want question 2. But maybe she'll be able to make those changes because she made a copy in her drive. So again, that works with Google Forms too. Now that's for a collaborator. And how to get here again, I'll do that one more time for you. To get to the collaborator, it's in the 3 dots, and add collaborators. And that's somebody that you're sharing the form with, that you want to edit it, or that you want to give them a copy of your form. And again, I would use that copy. I would force them to make a copy, because Google Forms get really tricky when we share out forms with each other. What I have found is that some people think, oh, well, we'll just put it all in one form. Well, if I've got my class, my first grade class on this form, and Becky's got her first grade class on this form, and then we've got Eric and his second grade classes on our form, what's going to happen when all of those kids' names are in there and all of their answers are in there? We're going to have to literally go through the form name by name by name, and this is mine, oh, this is mine. And that's going to make us all crazy, and we're never, ever going to want to collaborate again. And we want to prevent that from happening to you. We want you to keep the hair color that you have, not turn white like mine's doing. So that's what you want to do there. So when you do the collaborator, I would make a copy so that way they've got their own form, and you have your own form, and everybody's happy because it looks beautiful. So that's what I would do. And again, to send the form to students or to somebody that you want to fill out the form, you click the send button, and then you click on the link and get the link right here. You don't change the link at all. You just copy it and paste it into Google Classroom, email, wherever it is that you want to go or send it out to. And that's how you do that. Are there any questions about using Google Forms? Crickets. I think we're okay.
We're good.
Okay, awesome. All right, so we've talked about Google Docs and the sharing permissions with Google Docs and forcing a copy. We've talked about Google Slides and forcing them to make a copy, and Google Forms. Sheets is going to work exactly the same way. But since we're talking about Google Forms, it's a great segue into Google Sheets. And how many of you know that when you complete a form, you need to have a spreadsheet for all of this information to go on, right? And so that means I have to create one. How does that work? So if I go to responses right here is a little what I call the green box with a cross on it, which is actually a spreadsheet maker. So when I click here, it's going to say, hey, we need to create a new spreadsheet for you to host all your information. You want me to create the spreadsheet and call it practice form, just like your form? And I say, yes, please create. Okay. And now it's creating it for me. So I'm going to share this tab out so that way we see what it looks like. And here's my form. Now this form doesn't have any information on it because I haven't recorded any information. I haven't gotten anything from parents or my students or anything else. But this is where the timestamp would be, and all of the information, all of the questions that I would ask would be in each of these columns here. And this is great, for me. But again, I don't want Becky's information on here for her students. Because what's going to happen? Again, it's going to get all mixed up and combobulated, and then it's going to be not good for anybody. Okay, so again, the same process would occur. Let's say that my principal wants a copy of this form that I sent out, or this survey that I sent out to my kids. So how am I going to share this out with my principal? You can share it out here with the share button if you want to. And you can only give them view rights, because that's what I would do. I would only give my principal view rights to this document. I wouldn't give them edit rights. So I don't need to do the make a copy thing, because all they're going to do is view it, right? So I'm going to change this to restricted. I'm only going to send it to my principal. Okay. And then up here, I'm going to go ahead and add Becky. We're going to say that Miss Becky is my principal today. She's principal for the day. Okay. And oops. Right here, it says editor. I don't want her to be an editor. So I click on it and I want her to be a viewer. So she's only going to have view only. And I send it. And once I send it, she's going to get my form, and all she's going to be able to do is look at it. She's not going to be able to do anything with it other than look at it. So that's how we would share out spreadsheets. Now, if I wanted her to be able to edit it, of course, I would change it to edit. Or if I wanted her to have her own copy, I would force a copy as well, because I really like the forced copy. I think that's really a great tool to have. And I'm so glad that Alice Keeler shared it with me.
Misha, Irma is asking about, instead of adding individuals, can you add a group to share?
Right now, we don't have access to do that, because Google wants to use Google Groups to do that. So in order to send it out to a whole bunch of people, you're going to need to have their email addresses. And that's what makes it really kind of crummy. But again, if I'm using the link, and I can still make everybody a viewer with just that link, and that email I can send out to several people at one time, and then they will have access to that document. Or if I want to make them editors, I do have that option to do that within Google. Okay. But again, if I want them to make a copy, that's when I'm going to need to go in and change that link, and then send that instead. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay. Because sometimes Google works really well, like, here, I'm going to share this with you. But if I'm having to type in 20 email addresses, is that really time wise for me? Am I spending that time doing that when all I have to do is get that link and then put it in my email from work, and then I already have a group that's in my email from work for all my first grade teachers, and I can just send it on its way. So to me, that would be way easier just to copy the link and put it into my email than it is for me to hit the share button and go that route. So any other questions? Are we good?
So far, so good.
Okay, we're getting down to the wire here. We're down to our last about 18 minutes or so. Okay, so I'm going to go back I'm here in my form, and I'm going to go back to my drive. Okay. All right, and we're going to talk just for a little bit about shared drives versus your drive. Now, I'm going to give you a big word of caution when it comes to shared drives. When they first came out, I was elated. I was like, oh, this is amazing. This is going to help our teachers so much, because they're all going to be putting their stuff into this shared drive, and they're going to be able to share it all out with each other. It's going to be so great. Then it wasn't so great, because there's a lot of permissions that go along with using a shared drive. Now, I'm a part of a lot of different shared drives, but I don't really like to access them that much because of a couple of things that I'm going to go into. So I'm going to click into my shared drives here, just so I can show you, and you can see I've got quite a few here that I've been invited to be a part of. So if I go into, we're going to go into this practice one, because there's only one person in there. Okay. And if I drop files in here, and we're going to say that Becky and I, we have this shared drive, and we're putting all of these images, these memes that we're finding, these really funny memes, because we're going to be putting a video together. And so we put all these memes into this drive right here. And I decide I really like one of them. I'm not going to be able to make a copy of it, because it's in a shared drive. So then what I might want to do is I might want to just move it and take it out of the shared drive and put it into my drive. But what happens when I do that? You know what happens when I do that? Now Becky no longer has access to it. And all of a sudden I'm getting a text message saying, I need that meme. I'm doing a training and I want to show it and it's not in the shared drive. Where is it? And I'm like, oops, I took it out of the shared drive. Or I find a meme and I don't like it because somehow it offended me in some way and I want to delete it. Well, if I do that, it's deleted for Becky too. It's deleted for everybody. Anybody, if we have 30 people in that drive, nobody else will have access to it because I deleted it. So a shared drive is awesome, but it's also very dangerous because if everybody has pretty much the same access in there and people don't know much about the access of a shared drive. So if I click in here under this shared drive, I can add members and I can manage members because I think I created this drive. I'm kind of guessing that I did since I'm able to manage members. So if I click on manage members, it's going to show me everybody who's in this drive. And I believe there's one person in this drive and that's me. And I am the manager. But most people, when they go into a drive, the manager is the person who created the drive usually. And then everybody else that gets into the drive, I believe the default is contributor or contributor or commenter. I'm not sure. I'm trying to remember which one they are. But if I'm a contributor, that means I can add files to this drive and I can edit files from this drive, which means I can delete files from this drive. What is not a default is the content manager, which allows me to move files and edit and add files to the drive. Okay. So if you're a contributor, you're not going to have the option to copy anything. And that's what the default usually is. So having a shared drive is really awesome. But if you don't know what the permissions are, then it's not going to help anybody. And I see that there's a plus side where it's like this great tub full of documents or resources that we want to all pool together and we want to all draw from. But if I see something I really, really want and I want to make a copy of it, I'm not going to be able to in the shared drive because my permissions aren't there. So maybe, somehow I'm able to delete it, maybe. Or if I try to move it, and sometimes people they get permissions that they don't realize they've gotten, and then they delete, and then so it's kind of, to me, I don't care for the shared drives as much. I figure if I'm going to share something out with somebody, it's way easier for me to share it out from my Google Drive. Just way easier. I can just click on a folder and I can share whatever's in that folder with people, and then I'm good. And then that way I have access to it, they have access to it, and I can choose to take their access away at any time as well, because you can do that also. You can unshare stuff with people. Just because you've shared it with them doesn't mean that you always have to share it with them. Maybe you only want to share it with them for a little while, and then you're just like, you know what, I'm not going to share this with you anymore. Or maybe that person moves and changes the campus, and they're not going to be at your campus anymore. So there's not a need for you to share it with them anymore. So you remove them the same way that you share. You click on the share button and then you just remove them as having access to the document. Super easy, super easy. So again, shared drives, some people really, really love them and think they're awesome. For me, I just think it's a little dangerous. Because if I've spent the time to make a really great file for my students, for centers or for whatever, choice menus, whatever it is that I'm working on, and then I put it in there, and that was like, I didn't bother to make a copy before I put it in there because I'm just happy to share it with everybody. And then somebody gets a hold of it, they change it, or they, God forbid, delete it. And what's happened too is that sometimes people move, they leave the district. So they delete stuff and then they move, and then you can't get their stuff back. And then you're stuck and you're like, oh my gosh, they put it in their drive and now we can't get it because they've left the district. And it can be a hassle. So just be cognizant about that, about the shared drives, about sharing with the shared drives. So all right, do we have questions? As we're getting down there.
Yes, we're just getting. If used, do you recommend that the settings are changed so all that are part of the shared drive can copy, edit, etc.?
Yes, you just have to let everybody know. It's kind of like when you set up your classroom and you have all your rituals and routines in place. You go through all of your rules for your classroom. You know, we don't do this, we do this, we do this, we clean up our, you know, all of those things. The same thing needs to go with when you're doing a shared drive. You need to make sure that everybody understands what their permissions are and what they can and they should not do, because people don't realize. I mean, you know, we've had Google for a while now, and we still have people who don't realize that you know, when you change a link to something, that might not just affect this, but it might affect a whole bunch of other things, and they haven't, you know, gotten that down, or, you know, the sharing permissions. So yes, yeah, I would recommend getting everybody on the same level. You know, whoever creates the drive is the one who actually runs the drive. So they're the ones who own it. And you want to make sure that, let's say I created this drive and we've put all this stuff in it for our Teach conference, and Google gives me a call and they say, hey, we want you to come work for us. Now, this shared drive, I'm the owner of. Before I leave, you know, Becky's going to come up to me and say, hey, Misha, you need to change the permissions of the drive and give somebody else ownership of it, because otherwise we're not going to have access to all that stuff that we created. And I'm like, oh yeah, I need to do that, because it's, you know, it's whoever's owned it is the one who owns it forever, right? So then I can say, okay, I'm gonna Becky, you're gonna be the new owner now, and then I give the ownership over to Becky. So now she's the owner of the shared drive, and I've gone to go work for Google for a while. Yeah, right. Yeah, like that will ever happen.
It would. I wouldn't.
I know. No. I am very happy where I'm at. That will not happen. I have no intentions of doing that. But in the event that did happen, I would make sure that I would give my ownership of those shared drives and documents to somebody else. If somebody doesn't want to do that, you need to make sure you are aware that everything that we have in our Google Drive, everything that we are sharing within the Google ecosystem, or even within the Microsoft 365, doesn't really belong to us. It belongs to the district. Now, I'm going to tell you, nobody is going in and checking your stuff. Okay, so don't freak out about that. Nobody's going in and seeing what you have in your drives or anything like that. But because we're using a YISD account to log into all of this stuff, really, honestly, everything it belongs to YISD. So technically, I don't have permission really to say, no, this is my stuff. You know, I'm going to keep this and I'm not going to share this out with you, because they're going to say, hey, this was in YISD. So be aware of that. And if there is some stuff that you've created that you want, and maybe you're leaving the district, you know, it's retirement time, but you still want some of your stuff that you've created, you can share that with an outside account with yourself. So, and that's what I would recommend doing, because you don't want to delete all the stuff that's in there. Because like I said, it does belong to the district, and especially if it's campus stuff, you know, you don't want to put a hardship on them. So questions, I see a couple here.
Okay. Have you ever not given ownership of what you have created?
No, I have not. I have always turned my stuff over. I mean, not turn my stuff over, that sounds terrible, but no, I've always just, you know, we're here for everybody. So we just want to make sure that if we've created it with our YISD account, we're not going to be creating something obviously that is inappropriate, or not something that, you know, we would feel comfortable sharing with other people. If there's something that, like, maybe you're writing like a journal or something, or keeping track of something in that way, I would definitely use a personal account for that. Or if you've got personal photos, instead of using the Google Photos that are in your YSC account, create an outside Google Photos account with a Gmail account. You can do that very, very easily. I recommend keeping the two separate, just because district stuff should be district stuff, and personal stuff should be your personal stuff, and that way there's no melding of the two, and that way, in the event, because eventually we all are going to leave the district at some time in our life, whether it be next week or whether it be 15 years from now or whatever it may be. So you want to make sure that your district stuff stays district stuff, because I'm going to tell you that Google remembers everything. It remembers everything. It remembers every document you've made. It remembers everything. And there are ways that, they can go back, and not that I'm not trying to say anybody's big brother or anything like that, but you just, if it's district stuff, it's district stuff. It's school stuff. It should stay at your campus. Yeah, make a copy for yourself, because hey, I created this. Fine, that's great, that's awesome. But there also needs to be a copy that's left over here for your district, for your campus, is that's where it was used. And so I hope I'm clear as mud on that. I'm sure. But we're down to about 5 minutes. I do want to give you a chance to fill out the form. If you filled out forms earlier today, I don't know if we were having a network issue, if we were having an email issue, but it was sending out certificates left and right. So we've split the form from the spreadsheet right now. So when you fill out the form, I am personally going to be sending out. You're going to get them from Teachnology, but they're going to come out later on this evening. But you will be getting your certificate today. So let me get you the link for that. Let me make sure.
Is it the same one that I put in the chat, Ms. Misha?
Is that the one from this morning?
Yes.
Okay, no, it's not that one.
No, not that one. Okay.
Not that one.
And I will put it up.
Let me find it. Let me get it. It's right here. So let me get the link here for you. Yes, sir. Can I help you? I don't know. Go check. There's the link right there.
Okay.
YISD 20 GSH for Google sharing. And go out and force some people to make some copies.
Yeah. So if anybody has, okay, so do we have access to Kami through the district? Yes, I have.
We do. Yeah, we do have a free version of Kami. And also, I don't know if you are aware, but you also have an extension in your Google Chrome, and it looks like a target, and it's called Snap and Read. And that will also annotate over PDF documents. It also will read text to your students. Your students have it also. It's really, really awesome, some of the cool things that it can do. So I highly recommend going in there and playing with that. And like I said, it looks like a target up in your extensions.
So
yes, the link to the certificates is right here. It's up in the chat. It's bit.ly/YISD20GSH, all lowercase.
I'll post it again.
Yeah.
And somebody said that they filled out the form at the 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock session, and they didn't receive a certificate.
Yes. So what happened? For some reason, it started sending certificates. I don't know if it just had a meltdown because it's Monday. Again, I don't know if it was an email issue, but I did notice that it was sending out lots of certificates, and I wanted to prevent that from happening. So I stopped the process of doing that. I have everybody's name from the 1 o'clock session, and I will get everybody's name from this session. And I promise you, I don't break promises. At least I try very hard not to. And I will get those certificates out to you later this afternoon. I have a session right after this one, so I will be done about 5 o'clock, and we're around till about 5:30. So I'm hoping to have everything completed by 5:30. If not, it will be sometime this evening that you will be receiving those certificates. But you will be getting them along with your badge. And I apologize if you got many emails earlier today. I don't know what was going on there, but I wanted to make sure I stopped it before any more. I didn't want anybody to get upset with me.
I just want to let you guys know that I did post in the chat here that we have our Innovative Learning YouTube, where this video will be posted. And if you need any technical help or anything, Innovative Learning Department virtual office hours are Monday through Thursday, 7:30 to 5:30, and you can reach us at that link. And there is always somebody there to help you.
Yes,
And
always,
if they
always.
can't fix your problem, they will find somebody who can. Somebody is the reading cohort leader, and they're asking if they should choose ACAC for campus.
Yes, you can choose ACAC. I did have a question earlier today about that. There's 3 campuses that are no longer listed on there. Why is that? And it was because I was trying to update all of my forms. And so I took those campuses off because it is the beginning of the school year. So please put the campus on that you will be attending, or if you are part of like many different campuses, please go ahead and just put ACAC. It's just going to put it on your certificate for you. It's not really taking any kind of data from that. I did see a question here about why has Snap and Read stopped working. It could be that they're getting ready to renew, so it may be that maybe the end of May is when everything was due to expire, and it's going to start back up. I do know that they have stated that they were going to purchase it again, so we will be getting it again. But I will look into that because that kind of surprises me. Usually they don't do that so quickly, so I will look into that. But yes, Cami, you can use the free version of Cami. There is a little app for it. It does work as well. But Snap and Read is just so awesome that it does the reading and it does so many other things. So I highly recommend it.
Somebody was asking if they watch the video on YouTube. For example, if they didn't attend this class and they go to the YouTube link and they watch the class there, will they still be able to receive a certificate?
Yes, because the link is not going to change. I'm not going to change the link for the entire time that we are doing the mini Mondays. So, yes, if you get the link out of the video once we get those posted, absolutely. Yes.